The topic today is why Josh and I spend hundreds of thousands of dollars per year traveling and supposedly wasting money on experiences and events. We're going to be talking about how that has made us millions of dollars.
Not a bad subject. So, some history for you. A few years ago when I first met Luke, he was staying in like probably a $500-600 per month apartment.
Probably $300 a month.
Yeah, between his 6 different roommates that he was living in El Salvador, in like the worst part of El Salvador. And then we moved in together, and he didn't want to spend a single dollar ever. And what I was always taught from George, because I used to have the same ideology that you should just save what you make. But George, my real first mentor, he always said, why do you want to make money in the first place? And the answer is to live the life that you want to. So I would always hammer down on Luke because he would say, dude, just stack sats, bro. Just stack sats. I'm like, why don't you make 5 times more money and then you can save 2 times more Bitcoin and live 100 times better life?
Yeah, that's a great point. So before I met you, I was of the ideology every single cent that I make has to be squirreled away into Bitcoin. I had a scarcity mindset. I didn't think of the world in abundances. I thought of the world in regards to scarcity. And I was so hyper-focused on saving every single dollar that I made, I missed all of these incredible experiences that I missed out on, okay? And now I've learned that spending money is the key to making money. A lot of people will look at the ticket prices for a particular event. Like, for example, it costs $1,000 to go to a different conference in XYZ country, and people are scared to spend that $1,000. But now I've completely flipped my mind or my mental map of the world, and if I have to spend $5,000 to go live with Josh in Medellin, Colombia, and hang out with him and George and other really successful entrepreneurs and business-minded people, I'm going to do that without even thinking about how much it costs, because I know that the ideas that I'm going to come up with in the week or the 2 weeks or the 2 months that we spend living together will absolutely be worth its gold.
Or in the 2 days.
Yeah.
Since flying to Peru and getting the most expensive place we could find.
That was the goal. We said,
it wasn't the goal. Luke sent me and he said, mandatory for DHV purposes.
Mandatory.
We have to get the 3-story penthouse. It's mandatory. For whatever reason, we had to get a 13-bedroom place for 5 people. Or retarded. But within the 2 days that we've been here, I think I've already managed to make an extra 5 figures per month.
Yeah.
In pure profit, just from talking to this goofball.
And I've had the exact same revelations about my own business. I spent 1 hour on my laptop earlier today with Ben, my assistant, and I was just pounding away on my laptop. And I attribute the ideas and the money that I made on that laptop today to maybe Josh, but also maybe the pre-workout that we slammed together today at the gym. Because that was, for the first time in a year, we both slammed pre-workout. But in all seriousness, the ideas that I come up with Josh always make me tons of money. The last time we lived together in Colombia, Medellin, I was having to do more than 1 live stream every single day. So I had to do 32 long-form live streams per month. And Josh just said, hey, with one of my clients, George, what we're doing is we're doing a 60-minute long-form live stream. It's cut into 3 separate clips, and you're essentially doing 4 days worth of content in 1 hour. And I thought, that sounds like a pretty good idea. I'm gonna give that a try. And now I've been doing that. I've actually implemented this since Josh and I talked about it in January. And I've all of a sudden freed up 5 days in my week to think about these bigger picture ideas and come up with the ideas and the business plans that I was gaming out today after we've been bouncing ideas off each other for the past 2 days. So I think that's a massive misconception people have. If we offer someone in America the opportunity to come live with us in Medellin or Peru for a week or 2, I think a lot of people will be like, the flights are too expensive. I don't want to try to pay for expensive restaurants and stuff like that. And they don't think about how much money they can make.
The opportunity cost. And so it really goes down to having a fixed mindset,
Yeah.
or I forget the other one, growth mindset. And I see everything as an opportunity. So no matter what we're doing, if you look at it as an opportunity, you will see the opportunities there. Whereas if you always are looking at the expenses, like I don't want to spend any money, you completely have a fixed mindset, not allowing yourself to say, if I can spend an extra $10,000 per month, I can make an extra 50. Like that's not even a possibility if you don't see the value of investing into a better future.
And again, we're not preaching from our high horses here. Me, for 27 years of my life, I was literally doing everything I could to not spend money, to save every penny I could. And it's like I've realized literally only 2 years ago, when we first started living together in Colombia, Medellin in 2023, Josh was just like, bro, you just need to make more money. You need to make more money so you can spend more money and you can live the lifestyle that you want in 10 years today. You just need to go out and stop being a passive observer, and you actually need to create the future that you want to have in the future today, now. And I was like,
Honestly, I was looking at Luke and saying, you always talk about capitalism and libertarianism, but you're not doing anything about it.
Yeah.
You're praying for a better future from your investments going up, and not by creating value in the marketplace. And your income and how much money you make is directly correlated to how much value you put in the marketplace. That is the only correlation. It's not what you think you deserve. And if your parents make money or if your friends make money, none of that matters if you don't actually provide value. And so how many people in the world can do what you're doing? And it's not that fucking many for what we're doing. And therefore, we're rewarded so handsomely.
yeah. Well, it all comes back to supply and demand. Like right now, we're living in Lima, Peru. I've spent 6 months here in Lima, Peru for certain reasons, supply and demand. It really is everything, whether it's business related or relationship related, it all comes down to supply and demand. Where is your edge? Josh and I both identified a gap in the marketplace 2 years ago. There is so many rich billionaires who don't have the time or energy to figure out how to grow their social media platforms. 2 years ago, Josh and I were making some of the worst videos on YouTube, with the worst thumbnails on YouTube, with the worst packaging on YouTube, and every single day we roasted each other to try to improve each other's packaging of YouTube videos and videos overall. We learned skills, we obsessed over learning from the best. Josh and I used to listen to videos from Paddy Galloway, Mr. Beast, all day, every day, trying to learn.
Now we're having those types of people come to us.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. And in your case, they're begging to work with you.
But it's not just in business. I don't think I could put a price on how much value I would say the voice messages that me and Luke send back and forth to each other. Once you build this reputation or this relationship with somebody, it's not just business that we're talking about. In fact, most days we are not talking to each other about business. It's going to be about your personal life, the women in your life, to look at things from an outsider perspective that actually wants what's best for you. When Luke brings up a problem that he has with, let's say, a certain if he is not looking at it rationally, vice versa. When I go to him and tell him something, my head's obviously thinking emotionally, but his is not. And he wants what's best for me, I want what's best for him. And if I tell him, or if he tells me, dude, you're being stupid right now, why don't you give this 24 hours and then you can act on it, but here's what I think is the right answer. If I wait 24 hours, Luke has the fucking right answer.
Yeah. Perspective is everything, and the value of having someone who's on a similar mission and who has similar values as you, literally a 2-minute voice message away, it's absolutely invaluable. And any problem,
to the next level.
yeah, that takes it to the next level.
And what's weird is every single time me and Luke start talking to each other, we have a subject in mind, and it always comes back to the importance of surrounding yourself with people that have the exact same goals as you, and that are crushing it, and that you want to live with. And we don't do this intentionally, but this is what makes the difference as to, I think, why we progress so much. Every single time time we leave and see each other again, our incomes are going up drastically because we have the network of people that we can talk to every single day.
Yeah.
There's nothing on earth that I would replace. I would take every single client that I have and every single income stream away to maintain the relationships that I have with everyone that I know.
Yeah.
Because I know that I could reach out to 4 or 5 people, I could pick up some work, I could get some clients because of the reputation and the network that I have.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of cliches in the world. There's a lot of cliches in the world, and I think the one that I think is the most true is your network. Is your
It
network.
actually becomes more and more true
Yeah.
the more time you spend, which is
Yeah.
the opposite of every other cliche.
Yeah.
Like that's the only thing that I will take to the grave. You cannot do it by yourself. And George, the first mentor that I've learned more from him than from anywhere else, that's where he fucked up. He tried to rely on nobody his entire life. He never had mentors. He never had a strong network of entrepreneurs. And because of that, he still retired young. But if he had the network, he's very open that he would have made not 10 times as much money, but probably 100 times as much more money that he retired with.
That's really interesting.
I think that's the difference between George and Ken.
Yeah.
Ken is a billionaire because he leveraged networks better than anyone else on earth, where George is not. He has substantially less money, only because he relied on being just smartest person in the room at all times.
Yeah. It's a pretty valuable lesson. Get out there, network, spend money, even if at the time the spending of the money kind of feels difficult, it feels like a tough decision, feels like you might even be putting yourself at risk. A lot of the time, the opportunities.
As long as you're not being a retard about it. You know if
Yeah.
you're spending money like a retard, don't do that.
Yeah. Don't do that, but spend money on experiences and a
In
network.
fact, I think the first 3 to 4 years of my business, well, I know this to be the case, I made zero money profit at the end of the year.
Yeah.
2 years ago, if I made $150,000 that year, I spent $150,000. Most of it was travel expenses, conferences, meeting new people, hotels. That was most of my expenses that year.
It's like boredom.
And I'm making substantially more money now because of all of those things that I did and I spent money on. And unfortunately, I'm still spending a little bit too much money. But if you make more, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, that's what it all comes down to. Simply making more money. And then you can spend more money.
Yeah, life is beautiful when you're spending more money.
It really is.
I don't think anyone on the other side of the screen realizes how awesome it is to spend money.
Yeah, yeah. As somebody who's saved money for 28 years and spent many years surviving on less than like $5,000 a year, spending $25,000 a month is certainly a different world. It's a lot more fun.
That's in Peru.
Yeah.
You guys have no idea how cheap Peru is. Luke manages to still spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
probably spends more money than anyone in Peru.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's because spending money puts you in a certain mindset, and spending money gives you certain opportunities, gives you the chance to network with certain people.
He's spending it all on women.
To the wrong.
Our buddies call him Simpic. His name's Luke. They call him Simpic.
I simp over a couple of the ladies here in Peru, but of course, never ever simp. Bad idea, guys.
I think that's a good point.
Observe the thoughts
Yeah.
that pop up in your head, but don't get attached to them. Just see that they're there. See maybe if you have an emotional or internal reaction to them, and then